Okay. Okay. Cancer update. Cancer update. Cancer update. How you doing? Um, so I'm actually feeling pretty good today. I had chemo 2 days ago. So I'll and yeah, it was yesterday was rough, but I'm feeling a little bit better today. So I wanted to get this cranked out because this is going to be a little bit different. Some of you have been asking, well, my Mad Pack. Some of you have been asking, for my symptoms and like a complete chronology of what I've gone through so far. So that's what I'm going to be doing. All right. Now, I sent this directly to to a handful of buddies at work. All right. Well, buddies like upper management, the director, deputy directors, supervisors, and friends, and because you're getting this directly because you've shown support for me in the past, and I consider you friends. All right. So yeah. And so I hope you'll bear with me and watch this on your lunch break. All right. I don't want you to get in trouble. Right. So so that said, oh wait, hang on. Jeez. Wait, I got a couple of logistical things. All right, there we go. Technology, right? So, now I've got a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. All right, and those of you that know me, you're like, when have you not had a bunch of stuff to talk about? It's like verbal diarrhea. But yeah, this might be long, and there might be like a lot of editing because I'm gonna try to put this all together so it kind of makes sense. So I hope that's okay. But let's do this. So 7 months ago, I started having symptoms. Well, okay, let's back up. I lost both my brother and sister to pancreatic cancer. Okay, most of you know that. Tragic to watch that process. If and I'm really sorry if any of you have watched a loved one suffer like that. It's just heart-wrenching because there's really not a lot you can do, right? Except to try to comfort them. Both my brother and sister were gone within 6 months of their diagnosis. Okay? I'm guessing, they were probably stage 4. And by the way, they don't use stages anymore, stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's more, they call it localized or can't remember what the other term is. So, but I'll be using stage 1, stage 4 just for simplicity. So I'm guessing they had stage 4. Okay, let me stop. So I talk about my brother and sister passing away. All right, within 6 months of their diagnosis. Now, I want to be sensitive to you guys. I know a couple of you have been recently diagnosed with stage 4. All right. Now, I don't want you to hear that and get bummed out. All right. That was 10 and 12 years ago, I think. Here's the thing. The technology, chemo treatment, and all of the different scans, the CT scan, the MRI, the PET scan, I'll talk about it later. The technology has come a long way. All right. So the treatment that we're getting now, you and I, right? We're both going through this, right? It's come a long way. And there's new chemo coming out all the time. Cancer research is a huge field, right? And I want to bring up Steve. One of my buddies He lived in the UK for a long time, and he's bloody brilliant. But no, PhD. All right, he's one of the Mad Pack. All right, and yeah, super intelligent, and he has written tons of stuff and posted it on the community tab. And Steve, I'm sorry, I still need to go back and post your articles because they are very helpful. All right. But the point I want to make, you guys, is if you're going through treatment, and when I talk about losing my brother and sister and they were gone within 6 months, I don't want you to think about that. All right. Because their treatment was different than what we have now. The treatment we have now is much more effective. All right. And I've got good news for you in a bit. All right. So please, you guys, keep your hope. All right. Because there's always hope. And there's always like new technology coming out. And, so, yeah. And okay, now, I know a lot of you are currently going through treatment, all right? Various types of cancer, whatever, right? I've lost track, just to be honest. So just an idea. If you don't mind, if you want to, leave a comment on this video and let us know, like, what kind of, or what type of cancer you're struggling with and what kind of treatment or whatever, or how long you've been, whatever. Leave as many details as you want. But I'm a little bit curious because honestly, you guys, I've lost track. So now, if you're really struggling, if you're suffering, if you're having bad days, I have bad days, but I'm on camera when I'm on a good day, right? Just so you guys know. But I'll talk about I'll talk about my symptoms later. But if you are currently going through cancer treatment, if you want to, leave a comment, let us know. And if you're struggling, if you're suffering, start your comment with community. And I'll put it out here, and I guarantee you, you will get tons of support from us, from our community, the Mad Pack, right? Because the Mad Pack is awesome, very empathetic and very supportive. So, yeah, so I thought I'd throw that out there. So yeah, if you're, going through treatment, let us know if you want to. All right. Let's keep going. Right now, just to kind of lighten the mood a little bit, because, I'm half glass full kind of guy. So I don't know if you noticed the t-shirt, but it says, "These are difficult times." If you if you played an instrument or into music, the time signatures, they're difficult. I bought this shirt after I was diagnosed. I saw it online or something, and I thought it was funny. So it's like, yeah, chemo sometimes is difficult. These are difficult times. So 13/8 and 6/4. It's like, right? So if you play an instrument and if you've ever seen these, they're difficult, right? So let's keep going. So enough shenanibibbles. let's get down to business. All right. So, my symptoms. This is what got my attention, and this is probably why I'm stage 1. Because I lost both my brother and sister, I did research, right, on pancreatic cancer. So I kind of had an idea of what to look for. So my symptoms, and this was like 8 months ago. All right. I finally went to the doctor 7 months ago. So I had like a month of symptoms, and then it's like, okay, this is not good. So 8 months ago, my symptoms were, what really got my attention was pain in my abdomen or just discomfort. So like my upper left quadrant of my abdomen, which is your stomach, all right? It just felt like my food was not digesting, right? So, which makes sense because pancreatic cancer, when the pancreas shuts down, it's not releasing digestive enzymes to the stomach. So yeah, your food is not digesting. So it felt like my food was just laying there. So when I would eat, the discomfort, the pain got worse. And yeah, I tried, laxatives or whatever. That didn't help. So, but then the other main thing was like, a couple of things. Loss of appetite. I just didn't feel like eating because it hurt, right? Discomfort. And because of that, I had fatigue, I felt crummy. Wait, what else? I wrote them down. Weight loss. I started losing weight because I wasn't eating, So my weight loss actually started a month before I went to the doctor. And just so you know, so that was 8 months ago. To date, I've lost 40 pounds. I used to be 220. All right. And so you know, I've got a thin frame. So if your thumb and middle finger overlap, you've got a thin frame. If they touch, you've got a normal frame. I've never been normal, right? If your middle finger and thumb don't touch, you have, a bigger, frame, bigger boned or whatever. So yeah, I'm supposed to be thin. So I'm okay with the weight loss. Right now I'm at 178. So, which is, a good BMI. I'm 5'11", so I should be this weight. So, I'm not recommending it, but it's like, don't change your diet. Don't exercise. You don't have to do anything. Just keep doing what you're doing and, order now and we'll send you, it's like, right? So I don't recommend pancreatic cancer for weight loss, but I'm okay with it, So, so those were kind of the main symptoms. What really got my attention was the discomfort in my abdomen, right? So I knew something was off. So what happened was something's off. I called my doctor. I did a virtual visit, webcam, whatever. And I said, I lost both my brother and sister to pancreatic cancer. I'm having abdominal pain and fatigue and loss of appetite and weight loss. And she's like, whoa. We need you in here tomorrow. We immediately did a CT scan. And this was 7 months ago. All right. I'll never forget it. I was in the office, waiting. And she came in and she's like, after the CT scan, right? And she's like, yeah, sorry, but you've got pancreatic cancer. And I didn't say this, but in my head, I'm like, yeah, okay, that checks out. And it turns out I did genetic testing. it was $1,000. Blood work, and, multiple, consults with a genetic specialist because, my brother and sister, right? And I don't want to pass this on to my kids. I want to know, right? So it was $1,000. It showed up as a copay. So I just put it on my credit card, whatever, and then insurance paid for it later. But so my point is, it was not genetic. All the genetic testing, and they went through my family tree, any cousins or aunts and uncles, and, they did all that. So interesting. Very interesting, but it came up negative. No, it's not genetic. Okay, and she's like, well, it seems to be not genetic, but we don't know. But I'm still going to have a little talk with my boys and just say, it's not genetic, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to go in and, just have some blood work done, and it's not a big deal. Just, preemptive testing, right? So, all right, so that was 7 months ago when I was diagnosed. So, so I was lucky. I caught it early. Diane and Dave were stage 4. So I don't know if they ignored symptoms and it just kept spreading. And those of you with stage 4, I'm sorry, but there's new technology now, and I talked about it. So it's different for you guys than it was for my brother and sister. All right. So yeah, watch if you don't have cancer, pancreatic cancer, and you're doing okay, watch for those symptoms. Any kind of abdominal discomfort, it just feels like your food is laying there. Fatigue, loss of appetite, weight loss. Call your doctor now. Don't wait. All right. So, all right, I'm done preaching. Jeez. All right. So let's talk about the chronology of what I've gone through so far. All right. Because I think that's what you guys signed up for with this video, right? That's why you clicked, right? So, okay, before we do that, and this might be getting too long, but I don't care. I'm going to throw in something a little bit fun. All right. This was maybe a week ago or something. Anyway, it's kind of cool. Let's go. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think I've done better ones, but it was kind of cool. So, by the way, it took me like a half an hour to find the right music for that. I've got a huge music library, different genres and all kinds of stuff. I have a subscription, where I can download as much stuff as I want, right? So, for future videos, well, okay. Most of you know, future videos. The original intent of this channel, The Mad Camper, I'm retiring in a couple of years. Well, 3 years now because cancer set me back like a year. I have to do a bunch of work on my trailer. But anyway, yeah, I've got a 30-foot trailer sitting in my driveway. And in a couple of years, I'm going to get rid of everything in here, including the house. My son might buy my house, which would be awesome. I mean, it'll come with a big speaker and, so, so that is my plan to retire, get rid of my stuff, and it will accept the horns. The horns are coming with me because my plan is to record brass quartets out in the desert. And my intent is very simple, easy stuff where junior hires, kids that are just getting started out, they can play along with my band. The Not Quite Right Brass. So that's part of the, anyway, blah, blah, blah. This is getting too long. But so 7 months ago, I was diagnosed, right? And because of Diane and Dave, it freaked me out a little bit, right? 6 months? Really? And I've told the story before, but because I've got my trailer and that's the plan, like full-time on the road, right? Full-time RV life, whatever. I'll never forget it. It was like midnight or whatever. I was watching the stars. I got emotional. I've told the story before. I put my hand on my trailer. A little bit weird, but I said in my mind, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know if we are going to get to do this. Right? But yeah, I do have some really good news with my treatment. I'll get to that in a sec. So, wait, my lights all went off. Is it 7 o'clock? Okay, yeah, it's 7 o'clock. Wait, hang on. Technology. But where was I going? Okay, 7 months ago, I kind of freaked out. So, CT scan right away, right? So over 7 months, I've had, I think, at least 3 CT scans, maybe 4. I'd have to look it up, go in my notes or whatever. I've had 2 MRIs, magnetic resonance imaging, right? And then I've had 2 PET scans over the course of, now the PET scan is fascinating. The technology is amazing. What happens is, let me back up. One of the first, they did, I'll get to it. One of the first surgeries they did was to put in my third nipple. I've joked about it before. Chandler from Friends had a third nipple. All right. So, right. But it's called a smart port or a power port or whatever. There's a tube that goes up into my neck and down into my heart. It's amazing. But this is where they plug in my chemo, and this is where they draw labs and they do all that stuff, the blood work and stuff. It's amazing. My third nipple, right? So, where was I going? Okay, so 2 MRIs. Oh, the PET scan. So the way it works, and I joked around with the nurse because I did research ahead of time. So I knew it was radioactive. They inject radioactive sugar, through my smart port, right? And it goes into your system because cancer eats sugar. So the PET scan looks for radioactive signatures throughout your entire body. And it's amazing. So when I was joking around with her, she went in the back room and she came in with this syringe that had this big, heavy lead shield around it. And I'm like, it's not radioactive, is it? And she's like, well, kind of, so we're joking around with that. So I'm like, well, yeah, okay, cool. Let's stick that in and see what happens. So we were kind of laughing about it, but yeah. And a couple of you have made comments, the CT scan, the MRI, going to that tube. Couple of you, claustrophobia, right? I'm sorry. It's hard, but I lay down and I just take a nap, or whatever. Actually, I'm looking around like watching me go in, and it's fascinating. And I always talk to the operators. It's like, okay, so how many millimeters, between slices and stuff like that. So I'm a geek, right? So so I've had 4 surgeries. 3 of them were major. I was knocked out. I think the first one was like exploratory. I'll put it up here. Laparoscopic, just a small incision, right? But it was ultrasound where they go in and they look at stuff. They looked at my liver and they looked at, the pancreas and the tumor and all that. Not a big deal. I was knocked out. Yeah, it hurts. When I get home and going to bed, yeah, it hurts, but it's not that big a deal. It's whatever. So I was totally out for 3 of my surgeries. And so this one, it was just sedation. The whole OR wished I would have been knocked out because I tend to be very gregarious. And so I'm on the table in the OR and I'm just cracking jokes, and the anesthetist was really, really funny. And he was great. We had a great time, just, bantering and, jokes all the time. So I'm sedated, right? So I'm on the table. I'm not all the way out. And so the doctor, the surgeon, he's just trying to do his job, right? So I'm like, one of my best friends is an attorney. Guess what his favorite cocktail is? The subpoena colada. And he's like rolling his eyes. My other surgeon, Dr. Brower, we were laughing and, but anyways, so 4 surgeries, not that big a deal. So recovery was, taking out the garbage. It's like, ooh, but it was fine. All right. So, did I mention 16 chemos, infusions? They plug it into this thing. And so what happened, you guys, I had 8 chemo treatments, did a CT scan. The results were 0 results. The tumor had not shrunk. All the numbers were high or whatever. 8 treatments. Okay. So what I was talking about with new technology coming out all the time, as far as like chemo, recipes and concoctions, different chemo treatments. So I met with, my main oncologist and he's like, okay, well, yeah, that's not working. So let's try something different. So, the previous chemo was every 2 weeks. Every other week. Sorry. This chemo that I'm on now, and I think I've had, excuse me, I think I've had 8 treatments now already with this chemo. I've had good results with this chemo. There's something called the 19-9. Can't remember. I'll put it up here. My numbers have come way down. All right. I'll put a chart up here. So that's really encouraging. So you guys, my whole experience with chemo has been, okay. No nausea, none of that. And I know some of you are really having a hard time. You're feeling really sick and just not, so I'm sorry. But if you're struggling, again, leave a comment. But my experience has been, I just feel crummy. So, I'm on the couch or whatever, like monitoring emails from work, so I can still do my job, right? But taking out the garbage is like, I'm just not feeling good. But then I've got okay days too, like today, right? So overall, it's like whatever. Now, the good news is I met with my main provider, my doctor, Dr. Christie. She's awesome. So we meet in the office, and we end up laughing about all kinds of stuff, and talking about treatment and all that. But she's just really great. So she said, and we talked about it, and I'm like, so how much more chemo or whatever? I don't know how it came up, but she's like, you know what? Your numbers are looking a lot better. So we're thinking maybe 3 or 4 chemos, and then I actually have meetings with, hang on, wait for it. All right, today is Friday, so I've got chemo next week on Tuesday, and I meet with another Blue Cross counselor. But then, wait, so chemo next Tuesday, chemo the following week, chemo the following week, so that's 3. But I have a meeting. Oh, then 2 weeks from now, I have another CT scan. Depending on the results, I have a meeting with my surgeon the next day. He's going to look at the CT scan and see if I'm ready for surgery. All right. There's the Whipple procedure. I don't know if you guys have maybe heard of it, but mine is not that. That's the head of the pancreas. Mine is at the tail of the pancreas. So mine is, I don't know, something fancy, right? So we're going to evaluate if I'm ready for chemo, if the tumor has shrunk enough where we can like go in and get rid of the little bugger, right? That is very encouraging, you guys. I'm just saying. So, and that's just me. All right. My hope is for you guys to have the same results. All right. New technology, all kinds of new stuff going on. So yeah. So then I've got a meeting the next week with my primary oncologist. And then, so I talked to Dr. Christie, and I'm like, so how many chemos? I mean, do we do chemo after the surgery just to make sure everything is like cleaned out or whatever? And she's like, oh yeah, probably not. I'm like, really? And she's like, no, we'll bring you in here and, have a CT scan done like every 3 months or whatever, just to monitor what's going on, and I'm like, seriously? So, I mean, you've seen the fire like getting low, right? So it's like my treatment is getting toward the end. I'm like 90% done. Very encouraging, you guys. But again, that's just me. All right. Stage 1. It might take a little bit longer for some of you or whatever. Your treatment might be more complicated or whatever, but hang in there. I want the same results for you guys, right? So I'm just really encouraged. That was really good news. So yeah. So depending on how things go, this channel, I'll be talking less about what I'm going through and more about encouraging you guys, all right, for the next couple of years. And then when I go on the road, then when I go camping, then all heck's going to break loose because I'm going to have all kinds of crazy stories when I go camping, right? Which is why I've downloaded this huge audio library, right? So anyway, I hope this helps encourage you guys, keep up the hope. And this new chemo, I'm having good luck with it. All right. So I hope you do too. All right. Dishes and laundry. All right. I should probably go get myself a wife. That would help, right? Well, that was really misogynistic. Sorry. I didn't mean that. And nobody wants to move in here with me anyway. So, all right. Hope you guys are doing good. Stay in touch. And again, if you're struggling, start your comment with mate or community, and you'll get tons of support. All right. I got to go. Thank you. Thank you. MadPack. Thank you. Thank you. You guys know that. All right. All right. Bye.
Science